Have you been seeing anything unusual?
Hey everyone, welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. Today we're diving deep into the eerie and mind-bending ending of Control Freak 2025. If you've seen it, you're probably still reeling from its dark, twisted storyline and the unresolved questions it left in the air. And if you haven't seen it, then be careful, because there will be spoilers. So let's break it all down and try to understand the fate of Val, her haunting demon, and her complicated relationship with Robbie. The ending of Control Freak revolves around a powerful and at times terrifying story of trauma, guilt, and spiritual possession. At the center of this is Val, a motivational speaker who's about to embark on a world tour. Everything seems like it's about to go her way, but she's struggling with something far darker and more dangerous than any public speaking gig could prepare her for. A demon known as a hungry ghost has latched onto her, causing psychological and physical pain. But was this demon real or just a manifestation of Val's personal fears and trauma? In this video, we're going to untangle the complex plot and explore if Val was able to defeat the demon, whether her relationship with Robbie survived, and what that unsettling final image could mean. So let's get started.
I can't stop.
The origin of the hungry ghost. To truly understand the ending of Control Freak, we first need to delve into the backstory of the hungry ghost. This isn't just a random demon. It's tied to Val's family history, her father Sang, and even the trauma of the Vietnam War. The movie reveals that the ghost was summoned long before Val was even born. The ghost first entered the picture when Sang, Val's father, killed a Vietnamese soldier during the war. In a moment of intense sorrow, Sang realized he had taken a life, and that sorrow summoned the hungry ghost, a malevolent spirit deeply rooted in Vietnamese folklore. The ghost latched onto Sang, and its reach extended to Val's mother when they returned to civilian life. Val's parents tried to shield each other from the spirit, but its presence was too powerful. When Val was born, her mother knew that the demon was already latching onto her. This fear drove Val's mother to a tragic decision during a boating trip, where she attempted to drown Val in an effort to spare her from the demon's torment. However, in the chaos, Sang ended up killing Val's mother, trying to prevent her from taking their daughter's life, but it was too late. The ghost had already taken hold of Val. All of this, combined with Val's chronic head itch, represents the lingering effects of trauma, both personal and collective. Why was the hungry ghost haunting Val? The hungry ghost in Control Freak is a symbol of a few different things. First, it represents the long-lasting effects of war and trauma, particularly for those who were involved or indirectly affected by conflict. Sang's actions in Vietnam set in motion a chain of events that would haunt multiple generations. The ghost feeds on their suffering and guilt, making it impossible to escape. Val, although she wasn't part of the war herself, becomes an unwilling heir to this spiritual curse. But the ghost also represents Val's own fears. She's a woman dealing with deep emotional scars from her childhood, the trauma of growing up with a father who killed her mother, and the constant presence of the ghost in her life manifests in her personal insecurities. Val's fears about parenthood are particularly significant. She worries that she might pass on her trauma to her own children. So when the ghost returns to haunt her, it's no surprise that Val's mind goes into overdrive, causing her to spiral further into self-destructive behavior. On top of that, the demon is an embodiment of imposter syndrome. Val, who makes a living by telling others how to conquer their insecurities, is deeply insecure herself. The ghost feeds on this hypocrisy, growing stronger every time Val ignores her own advice. The more she tries to avoid confronting her insecurities, the more the ghost's power over her grows. Val's breakdown and Robbie's role. By the time we reach the movie's pivotal scenes, Val is on the verge of a total breakdown. Her behavior becomes erratic, and the more she tries to suppress the feelings inside, the worse it gets. During one of her public speaking sessions, she completely loses control, having a public meltdown. It's clear that she's unraveling both mentally and physically. It's during this moment that Val learns of her father's death. She believes that Sang's passing was related to his desperate attempts to dull the ghost's effect effects with drugs. Meanwhile, Val's psychological state is deteriorating, and her obsessive itching is no longer just a weird quirk, it's damaging her brain. Val is spiraling out of control, and Robbie, her husband, is beginning to make decisions for her. It becomes evident that Robbie is planning to send Val to a mental institution. His intentions, though, are unclear. Is he worried about her well-being, or is he just too scared to face the woman she's become? Val's desperate attempt to confront the demon. In a shocking turn of events, Val decides to take matters into her own hands. In a desperate attempt to confront the demon head-on, she drugs Robbie and locks him in a bedroom. Now, she's free to have a one-on-one confrontation with the hungry ghost. Val constructs a device using mirrors, hoping to trap the creature inside. But things don't go as planned, and instead of trapping the ghost, she takes a drastic step. She decides to sever one of her own hands. Why would Val do something like this? The act of cutting off her own hand represents Val's final attempt to take control of her fate. The itching, the psychological burden, it all comes down to this moment. If she can cut off her hand and stop herself from scratching her head, maybe the ghost will lose its hold on her. She saws off one of her hands, but she doesn't stop there. She then lures the hungry ghost with the promise of cutting off her other hand, only to surprise it by severing one of the ghost's hands instead. In this act of rebellion, Val is reclaiming power over her life. She's taking a stand against the forces that have tormented her for so long. But even as she defeats the ghost in this moment, it's clear that the battle is far from over. The hungry ghost doesn't disappear immediately, and Val has to make one last stand. The final confrontation and the cleansing Val's most traumatic memory, the moment her mother tried to drown her, is something that has haunted her entire life. It makes sense then that Val would face the hungry ghost in water, a symbol of both destruction and rebirth. In the movie's final moments, we see Val dragging herself from the basement to the pool in her home. It's here, in the water, that she attempts to destroy the demon once and for all. As Val struggles with the ghost in the water, it's a metaphor for cleansing. She is symbolically washing away the trauma of her childhood. Water, in many cultures, is seen as a purifier, and for Val, this pool represents a chance to free herself from the chains that have bound her for so long. She doesn't just want to defeat the demon, she wants to exorcise the trauma that shaped her life. After a harrowing struggle, Val emerges from the pool. She has seemingly defeated the demon, and in doing so, has liberated herself from the past that has defined her. But just when it seems like she's overcome it all, there's one last lingering question. Did Robbie leave her? Did Robbie leave Val? When the film cuts to the final scenes, Val is holding her young child, standing by a lake, possibly the same lake where her mother died. It's a poignant moment, and Val's hand has been reattached. This could be a symbol of her healing, a sign that she's now ready to move forward. But there's a small but significant detail at the end of the film that leaves everything up in the air. A bug lands on her child's face, just like the bugs we saw throughout the movie. These bugs have always been a sign of the hungry ghost's presence. Does this mean that Val has passed the ghost on to her child? Could the demon be continuing its torment through the next generation, or could it just be a random bug? It's left deliberately unclear, but it leaves us questioning whether Val truly defeated the ghost, or if it's something that will never leave her. As for Robbie, it seems like he might have left her. He was nowhere to be seen in the final scenes, and Val was standing alone by the lake with her child. This absence could imply that Robbie didn't stick around after everything that happened. There's even a possibility that he couldn't cope with the trauma of what had unfolded and chose to walk away. Or perhaps he waited until Val was strong enough to stand on her own before quietly exiting the relationship.
There's something wrong.
Our nerdy thoughts. The ending of Control Freak is left deliberately ambiguous, and it's up to the viewer to interpret what's really happening. Did Val defeat the hungry ghost, or did she just manage to survive it for now? Was Robbie truly supportive, or did he quietly leave her when things got too dark? And what does that bug at the end really mean? In the end, Control Freak is a film about trauma, the long-lasting effects of conflict, and the ways in which we try to escape our past. Whether the hungry ghost is real or not, it's a powerful symbol of the ghosts that haunt us all, the insecurities, the guilt, the fears, and how they shape our lives. Thanks for watching. What did you think about the ending of Control Freak? Do you think Val really defeated the demon, or was it all in her head? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more content like this. Until next time.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.